Hello and welcome to That Is Nice. It's been a while. I was on vacation. We're here with special guests, returning guests, Mr. Nolan. So Nolan, I'm going to start out. I'm going to ask you a quick question.
Yep.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Actually, I didn't mean to say that. I said that because it's very natural for me to say that to people on a daily basis.
You're not good.
No, what I'm saying is I'm sorry for giving such a generic response, and I want to get a little bit more in depth with what you
want to start
asked.
over?
Please.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You did it again.
Oh, fuck. Okay, no, one more time.
How are you?
How am I? Okay, wait.
I'm not going to ask this.
No, listen. How am I? That's like, it's like saying, like, how is that computer? Like, how is that a computer? Or, like, how am I?
I'm just asking the status of your current condition.
Okay, so that's a different question.
I think you're overthinking it a little.
Because if you say, how am I am because of my parents. And then they were because of their parents. And they're like molecules and such. But the status of my current condition is well. I am well. I just had a birthday recently. Still pretty excited about being another year older. I have a job. I have a roof over my house.
Well, that's not how the saying. It's not having a roof over your house.
I would say the status of my condition as of right now
is well. You're doing well.
Technically it's swell, but we'll say well. It's well. Now, how art thou?
Fine. So, okay, I want to start out with this.
Yep.
What is your most controversial belief? Like, what do you feel is your most unique belief?
So technically it's not a belief that I have. It's kind of like a theory that I think could be possible. Does that count, or does that have to be something actually...
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you want me to explain it? I'll explain it.
That would be preferred.
So, the theory that I have is that basically the statement, the statement of living in hell, like, oh, I'm living in a hellhole or shit like that, I think it's true. I think that what we are right now is we're not in hell necessarily. We're just in like the dark phase. The only way to get to the good phase, which would be like heaven, is to live your life and basically do good in life to where, the higher being would say, oh, you're good, so you get to go to heaven. But this is what So you live from 1900 to 1972, right?
Okay.
Then you get basically judged saying yay or nay. You're either going to go up or you're going to stay here. You reincarnate as into a baby, and then you live from 1970 to whatever, and then you basically keep doing it until you surpass. So I think like we've made mistakes in different lifetimes that, like that's why we're still here. We got to continue to make ourselves better.
But with that, what is right? What is the right choice? Is the right choice what people approve of? Is the right choice what was morally best? Like, for example, the railroad scenario where if your grandmother was laying on one railroad and 4 people were laying on the other and you were standing by the lever and you got to decide who gets run over,
It's an
Who are you
ethical
running
dilemma.
over? Yes. Are you running over your grandmother or the 4 people? Ethically, it makes sense to run over your grandmother
Right.
and save the 4 people.
Or you veer the train and kill yourself.
But that's not an option.
Should be.
But still, if you fucking sorry, excuse me with the language. If you run yourself over, someone else is still going to get run over, and that be your grandmother or 4 other people. So,
No, I think it's all based on scenario, right? So, like in that case, yeah, I mean, it would be. But then I don't know. I don't know then, because like, what if those 4 people were all fucking convicted of rape and they're just fucking rapists?
what if your grandma was a rapist?
Yeah.
What if your grandma was a cardinal?
Then we would kill. I mean, if she was a cardinal, then
Like not the bird, like the.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I'm saying like it's all depending on what the situation is. If it's 4 convicted rapists, you probably should kill them. If it's just 4 good Samaritans and your grandmother, you probably should kill your grandmother.
But if somebody is convicted, does that mean they actually did it? Or does that mean
No.
that a panel of judges and a jury
You know what I mean? If they're
decided
fucking,
they
if
are
they're
rapists?
murderers and fucking rapists and shit, I think that's all hearsay.
What if they murdered out of the goodness of their heart? What if somebody was attacking their wife
It's all
and they had to kill the person attacking their wife?
it's all under.
Are you still a murderer then? Are you still a murderer if somebody is attacking one of your loved ones?
Yes.
Just randomly goes and attacks somebody that you love,
Yeah.
and then you kill them to
Yes.
protect your loved one.
Yes.
Are you a murderer still?
Yeah. You killed someone purposely.
So so why don't you go to prison for murder?
Same reason why people in the military, when they kill Haji, when they kill bad guys, they don't go to jail. It's because they're doing something. Well, I mean, I guess they're doing something for their country, and that they're kind of told to do. But I mean,
Right.
there's still laws protecting you to stand your ground, or saving another one's life.
But if convicted in the country they killed somebody from, they're wrong. But if convicted in the country that they're defending, they're right. So is being a writer, is that a subjective?
Rephrase that for me, if you could.
Is being right?
No.
Is that up to each person? Is that something that can be different over here and over there? Because what if you kill somebody from Pakistan? People in Pakistan will probably think that was wrong of you. But if you're from America and you kill someone in Pakistan, they'll probably think, good job.
Right? Yeah, I guess.
So what is right then? There's so many different. Who's wrong here? Or is it wrong entirely to kill?
I think it is wrong entirely to kill. Yes, but I think if your people decide to kill innocent people in like the Twin Towers per se, or something like that, right? And you're backing them, I think that you're in the wrong in that situation. If you're just going to go willing to kill innocent people,
Do
then
you
I
think?
think you're the wrong.
Okay, but do you think it's right that we bomb towns to get terrorists, even if there is a few civilian casualties?
Do I think that's right? The greater good. If that's going to stop more deaths in the past or in the future, then yeah.
Maybe they thought the same. Because the Twin Towers were our financial soundness.
Right, and the one thing that hurt anybody is to kill their financial soundness.
That's a great quote.
A wise man once told me.
So, what are the true rights in life? What do you think are the true rights each individual have in life? What is a universal right that everybody has no matter where you're from? Or are there any?
So originally I probably would have took an hour and a half to answer this question, but I think that your talking to me has kind of changed my my mind. I think that I don't think there is any rights that we have.
Not even speech? You don't think we should have the right to say as we please?
We kind of do. It's so
but
weird.
Universally,
I think it's
in North Korea. If you talk against Kim Jong-un, you don't have that right.
Yeah, but if Kim Jong-un wasn't such a d-bag, then I think it would be. So if everyone started off,
right.
Yes, I mean I think if everyone started off at day zero, what are the rights that we have? We should be able to not fear for our lives. But not fear for our lives, not as in oh, there's a tiger chasing us. That's fine, because tigers should be able to kill us. We're in the food chain. But I feel like other people shouldn't be able to take our life away.
Should other tigers be able to kill other tigers if they need to eat?
That's their right.
So why can't other humans kill other humans if they need to eat?
We have a bigger brain. I think we
can. But does a bigger brain justify this? Because we have a bigger brain, yeah. But you know who has a bigger brain than us? Whales. Are they smarter than us? No.
Whales are dumb.
But if a whale kills another whale to feed its kids, what is the right in that? I don't think having a brain justifies it.
No, I'm complex. I think we have a mind. We have a conscience. I think that's what justifies it. I think we don't have to live like actual animals.
Why don't we? Why don't just we have to live like actual animals? Because we are animals.
But we're the smartest animal.
But does that mean anything?
It means
does that mean that we must behave at a certain level?
I feel like we should, yeah. Yeah.
Suppress our internal feelings of anger and sadness, suppress those just so that we can.
I think we should.
What good does that do? What good comes from that? Are like the giraffes gonna start being nice to each other because those humans? Because if that was the case, why hasn't it happened yet?
No, because we don't have to deal with giraffes. I know.
The problem is you put anybody, any animal, any person, doesn't matter who, doesn't matter where, you put them in a fight or flight situation to where they have nothing and they have a decision to make where it's life or death, they're going to instinctually choose the selfish choice, no matter what. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. If someone has a gun to your head and you have a gun to their head and you know they're going to shoot,
right?
You're not going to shoot?
No, you're definitely going to shoot.
You're definitely going to shoot. And I think that freedom of speech, okay, let's say we don't have a freedom of speech.
Right.
There's no, speech, you don't have free will of speech. I think you do, but let's say you don't for a second. If you don't have free will of speech, people say that's the only thing they can't take away from you is your freedom of speech, but they do take that away from you. Governments, people, liberals, they can take that away from you very easily.
Right.
So I think the only God-given right that every person has is the freedom of thought. But the freedom of thought is something that people don't really care much about, because if you hear a lot of people, you talk to them, even if it's about something political, whatever they say just seems to be an echo of something they've already heard. How many original ideas do you think people actually come up with? How many original ideas do you hear on a daily basis? Or are a lot of the ideas things that people have heard before? Yeah, have heard before or have known already works? How many original thinkers are there actually in the world? I'm going to say less than 100,000.
I'm going to say less than that. maybe you're stretching it if you say like 10,000. I mean,
Right.
that's
Now, why is that? Because that is the only thing nobody can take away from you. Somebody can literally sew your lips together and now you can't speak. But nobody can take your thoughts away from you. Why don't we take charge of that more? Why do we let our thoughts be controlled by things we've heard, things we already know that work? Why are people so afraid or so unwilling to think for themselves?
I think because we're afraid to not we're just not afraid to like fit in. We're drawn as a society to just confine to whatever is done in the past or whatever that people are doing, because we don't want to be that weird person.
Why? Why is it so bad?
I think it's because we have like a natural instinct of social interaction, right?
Yeah.
So if we basically put ourselves, so basically with the whole freedom of thought, right? So we can think one thing and do another thing and be completely social with it. But if we think one thing and do that thing, then we're kind of putting ourselves in a box away from everyone else. So we would all have, like, all these people in the box over here, they don't necessarily get to hang out all the time and like actually like talk with one another. But I think if they did, I think that would grow a lot more. So like if people were to stop putting money in the bank, right? And there's a group of people who stopped putting money in the bank and they all got together and hung out all day, every day, right? Then I think more people would be drawn to that and it would grow a little bit bigger, and then more people would have that more thought process of, I shouldn't put my money in the bank. And then it would kind of like vice versa. So it would be like opposite spectrums then.
So are you saying like the number one thing that prevents people from doing something unique is fear? Fear of being ostracized.
Outcasted.
Fear of not belonging to a social community because like, oh no, we don't want him. He did this thing. We don't do that thing.
Right. I think so.
So is being a social animal, because that's part of what made humans the top. Is being a social animal actually a con rather than a good? Because if you look at people who have autism, who have Asperger's, people who don't understand social norms, a lot of the people who do great, brilliant things for the world never were really never understood the social norms, and they were always outcast. Like Albert Einstein didn't wear shoes and he smelled, but he changed physics. He changed the entire study of physics. Right. Think of anybody who's made a ginormous, and I'm not talking a little invention, a ginormous contribution to society. They've all been super weird, ostracized people.
Huh? That's true.
So why do humans, I mean, and that's something that's pretty easy to think about. So why do we as a society sort of talk down to these people? We always call ideas that aren't run of the mill. We always call them crazy.
Right.
Why do we do this? Time and time again, it's proven that these crazy ideas end up being the crazy best thing for society.
Do you think it has something to do with like people? I mean, it's easy for you and I to say that, but like, I guess to the average person, do you think they know that these great minds in the past have had these sort of,
you know, here's the thing is I think people, the average person, I think they admire it. But then when they see it in their own life,
they shun
with someone they know, they shun it.
Yeah.
and they disapprove of it, which makes no sense.
Yeah, why is that?
How illogical are people? They're unbelievably illogical.
Super.
Like just to say something, even if you say something and it sounds stupid, it sounds dumb, 95% of the time you won't even say it because you're like, oh, it's going to sound dumb. But you could have a really interesting, really unique view on something that could really add to the conversation.
Right.
But you're just so afraid of people being like, that's stupid because this happened before, blah, blah, blah. You go, well, that happened, but what if it actually was this? You can't do that.
I have a perfect example of that in the 5th grade. Ready? So we were studying biology in the 5th grade. And the teacher, the teacher would basically say something like, so here's the example, right? So the teacher was like, so kids, plants grow under the water because sunlight hits, it can hit it from inside the water. We were like, oh, that's so cool. And then she's like, do you know why the plants don't, or she asked something like, oh, do plants eat at night or something like that? And everyone was like, yeah. And then I said, no. And then she's like, oh, who said no? I didn't raise my hand because everyone else said yes. And my thought was that because there's no sun, the plant's not able to absorb that energy. And she's like, she made a big deal about it. She's like, who said it? Like, I want to know. But I never wanted to speak up because I would have felt different. I would have felt ostracized from everyone else.
So it's sort of ingrained at an early age not to be that way.
Right.
Because if you're that way, you're wrong. Because what's already studied, what's already known, doesn't say that.
Right.
You're taught, okay, let's see. You're taught what innovators thought when they innovated, but you're never taught to innovate. You're supposed to know what innovators thought when they innovated, but nobody's taught to be the innovator. And if you are the innovator, you are a freak.
You're a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Like, why is it more glamorous to have a good paying job and to be stable than it is to go and be like dedicating a lot of time into something, trying to achieve something? Right. Why is it? Because when they actually achieve it, then it's glamorous.
Right.
Then it's glamorous. Yeah. None of the hard work or anything that they put into it is glamorous. But the second they actually do that, then they're praised. But the whole time they're trying, they're not. So it takes a different kind of person to be an innovator. You have to not give a flip about social norms.
Definitely have to be like super different.
Like, how many times a day do you think about something you hear, but you don't know what to think about it, so you read it to know what to think about it, like what's right to think about it.
Right.
You read it or you see what somebody else is saying about it because you think they're credible. Why is their opinion matter?
Yeah.
Why can't you have a different opinion? Just because 99% of the people think that, why is it so bad if you have a different one?
I wish I was smarter. I would be able to answer you, but that's a very deep question.
Like, for example, what if we already had a nuclear war?
Right.
What if the ice age that happened was a nuclear winter that we already had, and humans already were an advanced society, and then we had the nuclear war, and the nuclear winter came, and we had to totally start over, and we lost all records of anything we ever had, and we started over, and now we're back to the same point we are now. Advanced, we have nuclear weapons. Like, what if cavemen? What if the cavemen that we know and hear and read about was the second generation of cavemen that have ever existed? What if we're in one big loop? Time is so unfathomable, right, and so long. Like, you don't know when it starts, you don't know when it ends. How can we say that?
How can we say that it's the year 2018? Like,
we can't. Yeah. We don't know.
We just speculate everything.
We speculate. And carbon dating only goes back like 14,000 or 28,000 years.
And is that even...
That's not even a lot of time. If the universe has been around for billions of years, 14 or 28,000 years isn't going to tell you jack squat.
Right. I think if that was to happen, I feel like we if these people were so advanced, we would have found some sort of artifacts or some sort of like footprint that they left.
Why do you feel like that?
Because so like if nuclear fucking disaster happens right now and everyone in the world just dies, right? I know that there's going to be some foundations of a building, or there's going to be some sort of tunnel that's built, or railways. There's going to be cars, garbage. There's going to be stuff.
Or is that only the furthest we can trace back? Is garbage, tunnels, pyramids, you name it, pottery. But things have happened for so long. Earth could have been around for so long that it could all be destroyed at this point, because it all degrades and rots to dirt eventually. You don't know what happened a million years ago. I don't know what happened a million years ago.
Yeah. I guess maybe if their technology was so advanced, they didn't even they somehow figured out how to not have waste or anything like that, or some shit.
Exactly. And the universe is so crazy and so unimaginable. Do you really think it's only been around for a few billion years? Come on. It just being around for a few billion years that's just the theory. Yeah. Big Bang, it's called the Big Bang Theory. Could be wrong. It's just a theory. And the only way theories are proven correct is if they match everything we already know. Math, science. I'm not saying math and science are bad. Math and science are great, but that's how you prove a theory, is if you make it and find ways to have it add up with everything we already know. But what if everything we already know is fucking wrong? What do you think the odds of us actually knowing what happened 500,000 years ago are? Actually knowing what it was like, actually knowing who was around, actually knowing everything that we say we know. What do you think the odds of us knowing that are? 500,000 years ago, I couldn't even tell you what happened 80 years ago in my family.
Yeah, right.
How do we know what happened 5,000 years ago because of some test that seemed to make it seem correct?
We just try to make it logical, I guess. I don't know. I wonder how the Big Bang Theory even came about. Like, why would you just think that there's nothing in space, and then all of a sudden there's these two atoms, right? And then they collide at a high speed. Like, where do you even come up with that idea? And then somehow they make it like an Earth. Like, how does that even make sense?
And how come every planet is perfectly... I know you're a flat earther, but how come every planet...
is perfectly flat?
It's perfectly circle and round and orbiting the sun and so balanced. And I'm not saying that it means there's a God. Right. I'm just saying...
the probabilities of any of that happening is impossible.
Yeah.
It's our Earth circling the sun to where it somehow... there's trees that absorb the sun's rays and get energy from it, to them releasing carbon dioxide, to where, humans fucking breathe air and shit. Yeah. It's just and then all of our organs on the inside, how they work so perfectly together, and
right.
I don't know. That's how.
And you see it all the time with there's this new research about this diet. For example, don't eat romaine lettuce all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But for all of history, romaine lettuce, if you want to lose weight, you eat a salad. But now suddenly, don't eat romaine lettuce. It's not edible. You shouldn't be eating romaine lettuce. You got to clean your fridge if you had romaine lettuce in it. How does that happen? How does it go from something being so certain that, you want to lose weight, you want to be healthy, eat a salad, to now it's, you better clean your fridge if you ever had romaine lettuce in it? How does that happen?
Cigarettes, right?
Cigarettes even, yes.
Yeah. Or fucking drinking cocaine from Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess those have effects, side effects after a while.
How can we be so sure of everything, but then end up being so wrong about it
everything. Yeah.
Down the road?
I just really hope when we die, we somehow figure out like what actually happened. Like I just want to know. Like it'll drive me nuts if I die and like it's just black, like nothing.
Yeah.
But even though I can't be driven nuts because I'm dead, but it would piss me off a little bit just knowing that, or like
there was no point. I mean, but is there a point to a tree sprouting up and growing? Is there a point to a worm just fucking crawling along the sidewalk in a rainy day? Is there a point to that?
But I mean, if you think about it like that, if there's a point to a tree, the tree is to give food to other animals like giraffes, or maybe it has like a berry on it for other people, and it also gives us air, right? The worm eats the dirt and poops it out to make it more enriched soil for the tree to grow.
Yeah.
So like I feel like everything, it just
has
all it just like flows together in harmony.
But if we didn't have worms, you don't think there would be something else to make the soil
of
rich?
Of course there would be something else. That's the thing. Like
if we lost every worm, would the world end? Hell no. I don't think so.
That's a good question. If every worm disappeared, would the world end?
I don't think it would.
I think, honestly,
there's ways around it.
Something that minuscule, I think it could end if every worm disappeared.
Every dinosaur is gone. The world still goes on just fine.
Yeah, the dinosaurs, I think, was just a mistake. I think God was just like, oh, let me just make some dinosaurs because that would be dope. And then he's like, oh, fuck, there's like no point in these things walking around. Let me kill them. And let me make something a little bit more, fucking smarter that just don't eat each other.
Well, here's the problem. Does there have to be a reason to everything? Sometimes things happen with no reason. Like things happen with no reason actually on a daily basis, just in everybody's life. There doesn't have to be a reason for everything. There doesn't. What's the reason for anything ever happening? Like I have a chessboard sitting on my couch right now as we currently speak. What's the reason I put it there? Because I wanted the table to be clean for this podcast.
So there's a reason.
Is there going to be a butterfly effect to me putting that chessboard there? Am I going to fucking sit down and get a fucking
there could be
rook in my butthole?
No, because you putting that chessboard over there made you put up your camera and shit over here, and then what it could do is it could blow up on social media, and then you could become like a fucking millionaire. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's possibilities, but maybe what happens is one person watches this and it changes their whole life.
It's quite possible. Quite possible.
Give me another one.
You want another one?
Yeah.
Okay. Natural selection. We all know what natural selection is. Natural selection is, like short-necked giraffes not being able to reach the leaves, so all the short-necked giraffes died out, so now there's only long-necked giraffes because they were the only ones who could reach the leaves, so they kept passing on a long-neck genetic.
So if you just said everyone knows what natural selection is, and then you just explained what it is, why is that? Why did you do that?
What do you mean?
Like why? You were like, oh, everyone knows what natural selection is.
Because it's a widely accepted and known theory.
Okay, continue.
Okay, so could it be that a form of natural selection and Darwinism is people feeling depressed? If you feel depressed, is it because something within you, just like the urge to mate with people, could it be something within you wants you to off yourself so you don't pass on those genetics? Because it's known, and you know in yourself that you don't have these good genetics. You don't know why you're sad. Maybe you think you're sad because of this or that or this. But no matter what you do, no matter what a lot of people with depression do, they're sad still. Doesn't matter what they do. Doesn't matter if they're rich, powerful. It's just you don't have favorable genetics. So something within you, just like the desire to mate, tells you, don't pass these on.
I think...
And I mean, look at it. Look at today. How much has depression gone up in society? Because we have ways to treat it. I'm not saying we shouldn't treat it, but How many more people are depressed today than they were in 1920?
I think they didn't know what depression was in 1920. Well, maybe not 1920.
They probably also
But-
they also didn't know what like PTSD was because they always got a little bit
Yeah.
of shell shock.
Or like fucking autism. They thought people were just fucking demonic. Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, I think that it's not a. I think it's just a chemical imbalance that just happens randomly within people. It doesn't have like with the whole like. I mean, people get seasonal depression, right? It's not necessarily something that's.
But do you want to pass that on? I mean, think about it. If all these depressed people keep on reproducing, we're just going to have a world of fucking depressed people. And that's kind of happening. Before, they just died. Now, they just take some Prozac and they pass it on.
I mean,
Life is hard.
life's hard. I don't know. I think that the whole being socially accepted thing is more of a contributor to that as well. Like, I guess if you have depression and you're trying to be socially accepted, then you want to off yourself a little bit more. But I don't know. I really don't know, Jake. Wish I was a doctor. Should have been a doctor, but
What happened?
I hung out with you too much, I think.
That'll do it. That'll do it. But you know, what do you think? What do you do you think there's a beginning of time and an end of time, or what? I know time like is a man-made construct, but does it start and does it end?
I don't think it starts. I think it just happens. It happens every time, and there's no it's not going to end because even when we're gone, it's still going to continue. It'll never just shut down. I mean, this is a theory.
If the entire universe just fucking blows up, does that mean time's gone, or does time still continue?
I think time still continues because if the whole universe blows up, right, and you're just a black pit of nothingness, there's still technically that time that we had, because it's man-made, right? So like, no matter what, there will always be time. No matter what, it might not be regulated when there's a fucking black hole, but there still will be time, and it'll pass, and it'll continue to pass, and it'll be passing until it passes, and it'll still keep passing on. Like, time will be forever, no matter
Even if
what.
nothing exists.
Even if nothing exists. But with that being said, like, when nothing exists, then there's no reason for time. Time is irrelevant when nothing exists. Nobody's going to keep track of it when everything's gone. So, like, it'll still be there, but it'll be more like a lost memory, almost.
Lost memory. So what do you think about time travel? Do you think going back in time is a feasible thing?
I think going forward in time is more feasible.
Why is that?
Because I think if we were to figure out how to time travel now, I think we would be able to. Like, in the future. So basically, if we were figuring out how to time travel now, I think that in the future we would have something to basically like be like a checkpoint. Like, oh hey, we need to send this person here. I think that if you went in the past, I think it's impossible because there's no device in the past that was available for us to like travel to. You kind of get what I'm saying? Like, I think there has to be. It basically needs to be a can, a string, and another can. Like when you're playing telephone, I think there needs to be 2 points, and they need to be somehow connected. So if we can figure out the technology to time travel, it'll have to be to somewhere where time travel exists. In the past, it never existed, but in the future, if we have it at this present day, then we're gonna have it in the future.
I think the closest we're ever going to get to time travel is video. And that's because, think about it in the computer sense. You know, people think the world's a simulation. Think about it like a computer. If you type up an essay and you save it, and then a week later you go back and you continue typing that essay, you're time traveling because you have stored something from a week ago that you've done. Here's the thing about the universe is you can't, there's no memory. There's no storage of what has happened a year ago. And without any sort of storage of the past, how can you go back to it? And same with a computer. How can you, on a computer, go to what you're going to do in a week? So there's no past, there's no future, there's just whatever's the present.
Right.
And whatever is the present, you're never going to get back. From the moment I said hello and welcome to That Is Nice, that's never going to happen again. There's no memory of it other than this video. But we can't go back and relive that moment.
Right. I think
I
think it's just a different perception of time. Or, well, not time, but time travel. So you're saying, like, I see what you're saying, and it makes sense. But I was taking it, I think, a little bit more literally in time traveling. I don't know. Because I feel like basically, like, time travel to me is like taking a plane somewhere. And, like, just you get in basically like a tube, right? And then your molecules change somehow and shoot through fucking to another tube in the future.
So do you think, so are you saying like going to a different time zone is time travel?
I mean, technically, yeah.
Technically, but
yeah.
The Earth is always going to be the same superposition. So no matter what time zone you're in, you're still in the same superposition. And that's how you know time travel is not a real thing. Like everything's the same time. And that's how you know time is just an artificial man-made thing.
Yeah.
Is you can go back in a time zone, but still your superposition is telling you it's this time, this day, this year, this whatever. Right. So it doesn't matter. Like artificially, yeah, you went back 3 hours.
Right.
But atomically, you're still the same fucking person, place, thing. You're still this old.
Right.
You're just at a different location. You're just at a darker place. It's darker.
Right.
You went 3 hours back. It's a little bit darker than it was when you were in New York and now you're in California. Or it would actually be the other way around.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
It's all very interesting topics.
But yeah. All right, Nolan. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for coming on again and again and again and again to 10. That is nice.
Thanks for having me, Jake.
It's always great having you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. Like and subscribe. Comment what you think about all this.
Excuse me. You forgot to ask me something.
Was it nice?
Nah.
Okay. Well, that's the first. Adios, amigos.